All right, let's dive right in. Around the world, sustainable tourism isn't just a buzzword anymore, it's become an absolute necessity, both for the economy and the environment. And for a nation like Indonesia, with its unbelievable natural beauty and rich culture, the stakes couldn't be higher. But here's the thing, actually achieving genuine sustainability, it's filled with tough choices. In this explainer, we're going to break down some crucial research that really maps out the strategic crossroads that Indonesian tourism policy is facing right now.
So this is really the core question, isn't it? Why is this concept, something we all agree on in theory, so incredibly hard to put into practice effectively? We all see the ambitious goals, but the results on the ground, they often don't quite match up. For anyone in a policy-making position, getting to the root of why it's so difficult is really the first critical step to finding a better way forward.
And this just perfectly lays out the paradox we're facing. On one hand, you have the promise, this ideal vision of economic growth, happy communities, and a healthy environment all working in perfect harmony. That's the official goal. But then on the other hand, we see the reality that the research points to. We're seeing international concern from organizations like UNESCO over what's happening in places like Komodo National Park. And our national scores on global sustainability indexes, well, they just don't reflect our true potential. There's a real, measurable gap between our intentions and our outcomes. Okay, so to bridge that gap, we first have to understand that the word sustainable isn't as simple as it sounds. The source material makes a really compelling case that there are actually three different and often competing blueprints for what sustainable tourism can look like. Each of these paths has a different main goal, a different group that benefits the most, and its own unique set of risks. First up is the resource-centric model. You can think of this as the classic conservationist playbook. The number one priority here is protecting the environment from tourism. It's usually a top-down approach managed by scientists and experts, and it's often what you see in national parks. In fact, this was the original foundation for Indonesia's first sustainability laws.
The second path is completely different. It's the tourist-centric model. This vision is driven almost entirely by the market and by what the industry wants. The main goal here, maximizing economic growth, period. Development is all about catering to what tourists expect, even if that means making significant changes to the environment. The primary beneficiary isn't the environment or the local people, but the tourism industry and its investors.
And then there's the third path, the community-centric model, which just flips the whole script. This approach doesn't start with the environment or the market. It starts with the people who live there, the host community. The top priority is the long-term well-being of local residents. Planning is done from the bottom up, giving local citizens a real voice in their own future and making sure the benefits of tourism actually stay within their community. This table really puts it all into perspective. What's so crucial to see here from a policymaking standpoint is how that primary goal at the top dictates everything else. For example, if your goal is purely economic growth, well, that naturally leads you to a market-driven approach. But look at the risk, greenwashing and over-tourism. On the flip side, if you prioritize community well-being, you have to use a participatory, bottom-up approach, even if the economic growth is a bit slower at first. The key takeaway is that the path you choose fundamentally changes what sustainability even means, and it determines who really wins in the end. So, the big question is, which path is Indonesia on right now? The research presents some pretty compelling evidence that national policy is drifting more and more towards that tourist-centric model. And this path, it comes with some serious dangers that go way beyond just the environment. We're talking about potential social and political instability. The research points to a few clear signs of the shift. First, there's this relentless focus on the numbers, visitor arrivals, how much foreign money is coming in, instead of on the quality of the outcomes. Second, you see the rise of enclave tourism, with developments like the Mandalika circuit, which can feel walled off from the local communities. And third, there's this public talk about quality tourism. But when you dig into it, quality often just means high-end service standards for the industry, not real environmental or social health. These are all hallmarks of a market-first strategy. And when you go down this road, the risk of greenwashing becomes huge. The source uses this pretty blunt definition, calling it a gimmick used to deceive people. From a governance perspective, this isn't just a PR problem, it's a direct threat to our national brand. It creates this illusion of sustainability while hiding policies that are really just about profit, and that ultimately erodes trust, both with our own citizens and with the world. And this right here is a really profound point. A purely economics-first, neoliberal model doesn't just create practical problems on the ground. It creates a fundamental conflict with Indonesia's own constitutional philosophy.
Pancasila is built on principles of social justice and unity for all Indonesians, a tourism model that mainly benefits outside investors while leaving host communities behind. That runs directly against the values we're built on. But the analysis doesn't just point out the problems, it also shines a light on a powerful alternative, a path that's not only more sustainable, but is also more authentically Indonesian. This is the community-centric path, and it's rooted in the deep-seated principles of kearifan lokal, or local wisdom. And the amazing thing is, this isn't some new concept we have to import from somewhere else. These are proven, time-tested models of sustainability that already exist all across the archipelago. You see it in the Badu philosophy that says mountains and valleys must not be damaged. You see it in the Sasi tradition in Maluku, where they place a temporary ban on harvesting to let nature heal. And of course, in Bali's world-famous Trihita Karana philosophy. These aren't just cultural artifacts, they are sophisticated, working blueprints for true sustainability.
So to truly adopt this community-centric model, we have to start measuring success differently. The research calls it the right sizing principle. This means making a huge policy shift away from always chasing more tourists, more revenue, and towards pursuing better or qualitative development. The questions we should be asking are, what is the right size and the right kind of tourism for this particular community? How do we build a stable local economy for the long haul instead of just a short-term boom?
What's so brilliant about this is that choosing this path isn't a compromise. It's a powerful act of strategic alignment. First, it aligns our national policy with our own constitutional values in Pancasila. Second, it aligns development with what our own communities actually want for themselves. And third, it aligns Indonesia's tourism brand with what the global community is increasingly demanding: authentic, transparent, and truly sustainable travel.
This brings us to the fundamental choice at the very heart of this research. And this isn't some abstract academic debate. We're talking about a series of policy decisions that are going to define the future of tourism in Indonesia and its place in our national identity for years to come. And the choice, as you can see here, is pretty stark. On one side, the tourist-centric path. It offers the promise of quick money, but it comes with a high risk of social conflict, environmental damage, and a system that serves outside interests. On the other side, the community-centric path. It requires a more patient, more thoughtful transformation, but the payoff is long-term stability, real cultural preservation, and a tourism sector that truly benefits all citizens. In the end, every single policy decision, every regulation, every investment, it all comes down to this one fundamental question. Are we going to shape a tourism industry that is built to serve our communities, enrich our culture, and protect our environment? Or are we going to follow a path that risks transforming our communities and our natural heritage into just another product to be consumed by tourism? The choice, as this research makes clear, will define the next chapter for Indonesia.
Thank you.